Right, welcome back to Applications 1.1. We've previously looked at the area of a triangle and we've begun our look at the sine rule. We're going to finish off our work on the sine rule today by looking at a case that we've not covered so far. We'll start with a quote. Every triangle is a love triangle when you love triangles. And that's actually from James A. Caster. Right, okay, so we've got this sine rule that we looked at last time. A over sine A is equal to B over sine B, which is also equal to C over sine C. And we had a look at how to use that to find missing sides. Again, the formula is given to you. What we're going to do now is find not the missing side, but the missing angle. I've just noticed a mistake on this. It says find the value of x, which is this. I've written y there. So find the value of this missing angle x. So again, this is slightly different from last time because before we were looking for a missing side. Let's start by writing out our formula. A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. Okay, so let's have a little look. We know this angle here. So why don't we call this angle A? And this is opposite this side over here. So let's call this side A. So I'm using small a for the side, big A for capital A, I should say, for the angle. So we're going to write 7.9 over sine x. We also have, we actually know all three sides here, but what we're interested in is this other angle and this side opposite to it. So we'll call this side B and we'll call this angle B. So let's write that as 7 over sine 58.5. Okay, so now what we need to do is rearrange this to get x by itself, or really to get sine x by itself first of all. So I don't want you to panic too much about this. If you ever end up in a situation where you've got x as the bottom of a fraction, a fairly useful thing to do is just to times both sides by that the denominator. So let's times both sides by sine x. What we're going to end up with is 7.9 is equal to 7 over sine 58.5 times sine x. Okay? And now what we can do is we can just we essentially what we want to do is take over this fraction to this side, and the way we can do this is to divide by this fraction. So we can do sine x is equal to 7.9 divided by 7 over sine 58.5. Again, this is a bit of a mess. It's going to be worth just typing this into your calculator at this point, I think. So we've got sine x is equal to, and again, I'm just reaching for my calculator. I'm going to do 7.9 divided by, I'm going to use my fraction button, 7 over sine 58.5. Okay, and if you do that, you're going to get 0.962265. It's going to go on for a bit. And then if you use your shift and then sine button on your calculator, that's going to give you this inverse of sine. So if you just do the inverse of sine of your answer, so you can just press the answer key on your calculator, or if you prefer, you can just type out the answer, which is 0.96225, etc. If you hit equals on that, it's going to tell you that sine is going to be 74.209, which to the nearest integer is just going to be 74. So we're saying that this angle here is 74 degrees. Okay, check that it makes sense. I mean, have a look at the angle. Does 70 degrees make sense? 90 degrees would be like a right angle. So yes, this is a bit less than 90 degrees. 74 seems like a sensible thing. So again, slightly more complicated, I think, and the reason I think it's more complex is because I think going from this to just having sine x by itself is a bit more complicated, and then of course you've got to use the inverse sine function to sort of work backwards and get the x. Another one might be quite useful here. So we're going to find the value of y. So y equals 74 degrees. Oh, sorry, that's the question we've just done. We've just done this one, 74. Okay, now we're going to find this value of y. Again, let's just think about this. Let's call this side side A rather, and this can be the angle A. This can be side B, and this will be the angle B. So we're going to have 6.7 over sine y is equal to 4.7 over sine 44.3. Okay, thinking about rearranging this, if we times both sides by sine y, we're going to get 6.7 is equal to 4.7 over sine 44.3 times sine y. And now if we divide by, I won't write it out in full, if we just divide by the fraction that we have, both sides by this fraction, you're going to get 67 divided by 4.7 over sine 44.3. And that's going to be equal to sine y. Again, what we can do is just type this into our calculator. So 6.7 divided by 4.7 over sine 44.3. That's going to give you that sine y is equal to 0.9956132.792. So y, to find y, we're going to do shift sine to get the inverse sine function. Shift sine inverse sine function. Again, I can press the answer key on my calculator to actually get this to work this out, and this is going to be 84.63133242. And to one decimal place, that would be this. Okay. Again, check that it makes sense. 84, does this angle look like it could be 84.6? Well, yes, it looks almost like a right angle. So it should be something close to 90 degrees. It's not actually 90, it's just a bit less. So that seems to make sense to us. And again, we can check our answer there. And indeed, it is 84.6. Okay, so the final task for this week will be working on a worksheet. So the worksheet's been uploaded, and I just want you to have a work through it, come up with some answers for it. It's all using the sine rule to find the missing side or finding the missing angle. So have a go and good luck.